Hey guys, I'm going to be breaking down the two main reasons that I have for why the Buu arc is the worst saga in Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, I know a lot of people like the Majin Buu saga. Things like Majin Vegeta, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and Mystic Gohan. I love those things too. I'm not saying that the saga is bad by any means, it just lacks things that the other sagas have. But getting straight into it, the first point that I have is the lead up. You know that thing that builds anticipation right before things get intense? All shonen anime tend to have it. So let's take a quick look at what each saga is built from. The Frieza saga has the Saiyan saga leading into it to set up a few things. The setup it has is honestly really good, and I would love to make a separate, more detailed video as to why it's so amazing, but that's going to have to wait. Now about the Saiyan saga. There's a lot of important characters, or at least important at the time, that die. This is the main reason why Bulma, Gohan, and Krillin head to Namek in the first place. It also sets up Goku's Saiyan heritage and how he's a low level compared to Vegeta, who is an elite. This is important for the constant Super Saiyan foreshadowing that occurs in the Frieza saga. Let's talk about Goku real quick. He learns three important things in the Saiyan saga, and they are the benefits of training under time's gravity, the Kaioken technique and its negative side effects on the body, and the Spirit Bomb. All three of these things were extremely important leading into the fight with Frieza, but I want to specifically highlight one. A lot of times in anime, techniques that main characters learn can be replaced with something newer, making it so that you never get to really enjoy the technique or growth of the character. But that isn't really the case with Kaioken. So you guys have some perspective. Kaioken was shown in episode 29 and was used as the default power boosting technique up until Goku turned Super Saiyan in episode 95. Super Saiyan would then be the default until episode 155 when Vegeta reveals Super Vegeta. Then from Super, there was Super Saiyan 2, and you know the rest. The point is, Kaioken was a very important and unique technique where you could feel the risk involved versus Vegeta and then again versus Frieza. And still to this day, its inclusion can help make a very amazing epic moment. Moving on, the Cell saga has the Android saga before it, which is all about setting up androids so Cell could hunt them down and become the perfect being. That statement alone should tell you how well the two sagas connected, but I'll bring up one nice little tidbit. Trunks during the Android saga comes from a future of an alternate timeline to warn the main cast of androids who ruined the world in his time. So he, like the audience, believed that the heroes have a head start on all the mess that is about to go down. But we then find out in the Cell saga that Cell came from a time even later in the future than Trunks is from, and then hides away a whole year before Trunks even showed up in the first place. Cell's existence and knowledge is not only connected to the androids directly, but into the future which was established before the Cell saga even started. The lead up here is pretty alright if you ask me.
So I burrowed into the ground where for the last 4 years I have been lying in wait, gestating, gathering my strength, growing into the superior being you see before you today.
Next, the Majin Buu saga finally. In short, the filler Otherworld tournament with Paikon does nothing for the Buu saga, and neither does Gohan's high school arc. I love that arc, by the way. Probably because I like to self-insert myself as someone who can find a nice, interesting, cute girl to chase me around and fall for me. But not the point. The only thing Gohan's little arc does is introduce Videl so she can be important, so that Hercule can be more important for his connection with Buu to be important. So, with this mess of a saga, let's take a look at the tournament. There are two main things brought up that are very important. First, the Supreme Kai, his status, and his mission to stop Babidi. And second, Babidi, his magical ability to control people, and mission to awaken Buu. So, the Supreme Kai fails in his mission rather quickly, and in his first appearance seems to be rather serious and knowledgeable, but constantly he is made to seem to not know things and underestimate things. I can list a few things from the top of my head. The power of a Super Saiyan, the power beyond the Super Saiyan, the strength of Babidi's henchmen. He does not know the truth about the Z-Sword, and he does not know what the Patari rings do. I'm sure there's more, but you guys get the point. He eventually becomes a joke character that fuses with Kibito so that there are less joke characters running around. Babidi isn't ever turned into a joke or anything. They treat him pretty consistent. He's arrogant and mischievous, with no concern for anyone's life except his own. But once he gets Buu out, he kinda doesn't do anything. Buu isn't really what he expected, and he decides he wants revenge on Piccolo, Goten, and Trunks. From that point, he doesn't really contribute. So the only connecting pieces from the pre-Buu arc to the actual arc is minimal and can be dismissed. My second point is about consistency. So going back and comparing the sagas, the Frieza saga has 3 parties looking for the Dragon Balls: Gohan and Krillin, Vegeta, and Frieza and his henchmen. As the saga goes, nothing pops out for no reason. Meeting Dende and Guru is really not out of nowhere because they're on Namek. Frieza eventually calling the Ginyu Force made sense too, they needed new scouters. Vegeta joining Gohan and Krillin also made sense because it came from a necessity to have a better chance against Frieza. Then bringing Piccolo back made sense too. That's why they went to Namek in the first place, to bring back some of their friends, and they chose him because with him, the Earth's Dragon Balls were back. Even Goku becoming a Super Saiyan later on was constantly foreshadowed with all the times Vegeta would mention it. So the saga is a cat and mouse game that becomes a capture the flag, which ends up being one really long fight against Frieza. It's very consistent, and the only random moments are when characters reveal special moves like Genyu's body change. But whatever, that's the fault of all shonen overall, so I would say it's fair to dismiss it. The Cell Saga has a semi-complicated plot with all the timelines, so instead of going to the story's events, I'm going to bring up character consistency instead. Starting with Trunks. He comes from the future to change the past to save his timeline, and he's really cautious about the information he likes to give out, to avoid things like Vegeta and Bulma maybe never getting together to have Trunks be born in the first place. He drops the cautious thing only after everyone knows who he is, and throughout the entire time he's been secretly wanting to get closer to his father. He eventually does get to know Vegeta, spending a whole year with him in training, so his dad constantly became more and more important to him. Eventually Trunks has to decide to attack Vegeta or not to, because Vegeta was letting Cell going ahead to go become perfect. And he chooses his mission to save the future over his father, which wasn't easy for him because they had grown pretty close, or at least as close as anyone could be to Vegeta at the time of the Cell Saga. So you can see how Trunks stays true to his character and mission.
I'm not going to stand here and watch it happen again, even if that means fighting you!
Goku from before and after having the heart virus constantly focused on prioritizing Gohan's training over his own, while Vegeta constantly is focused on his own training and wanting to be number 1. So every character in this show is overall very consistent. I could go over Piccolo, I could go over Gohan, but it's literally almost every single character in this saga. So now for the Buu arc's consistency. It goes from Vegeta being evil enough to kill innocent people, to then wanting to stop Majin Buu, dying in the process leaving Goku to train Goten and Trunks because evidently they're the only people that can. But then Goku turns Super Saiyan 3 fighting Majin Buu and admits that he probably could beat Majin Buu, but he feels that it's not his place. Then Buu spits out Buu because Buu isn't being evil, and evil Buu eats Buu, making them whole again, but now they're a different sum of their parts, somehow. Then Gotenks trolls against Buu multiple times. He fights him and was about to beat him, but then fusion technique ran out of time. Gohan shows up, beats up Buu. Buu absorbs Gotenks and Piccolo. Then Buu beats up Gohan. Then Goku shows up out of nowhere wanting to fuse with Gohan. Gohan gets absorbed. And then Vegeta shows up literally out of nowhere because he was dead. They end up fusing. Vegito beats the hell out of Buu. And long story short, Buu becomes a child, and Goku and Vegeta go to fight him on a different planet because Earth is gone. This is the short version of a hot potato story to who will beat Majin Buu. A lot of characters are also inconsistent. Vegeta is willing to kill innocent people and is able to overcome Babidi's mind control because to him nothing is more important than his fight with Goku. But then can be like, oh yeah Kakarot, let's stop fighting because of Majin Buu. Mind you, depending if you're watching the sub or dub, or depending on which game you played, or if you read the manga, his motive could also be he knows that Goku can't focus on their fight. Which would still be inconsistent because Goku could have never truly focused on their fight worried about Gohan. Goku's also inconsistent because he has said no to fighting and beating Buu, even though he mentioned that he probably could have as a Super Saiyan 3 because he felt like it wasn't his place. Later on, he decides, oh man, I really want to go fight him, screw it if it's my place or not. Older Kai gives him his life and he goes and helps. Then Vegeta and Goku are inconsistent because they decide to go ahead and agree. All our friends are dead, Bulma and Trunks are gone, so let's let go of our pride to fuse and beat him. To eventually saying, nah, we're not gonna fuse, we want a fair fight. Yeah, I guess having a 3v1 handicap tag team match with Purunga and Hercules qualifies as a fair fight, especially how they use everyone's energy to beat Buu up with a spirit bomb. Those are my 2 reasons for why the Buu saga is the worst out of the 3 major sagas. One last bonus point for you guys to think about on your own. What did all 3 sagas end up giving to Dragon Ball Super? I'll say this much, Goten and Trunks are extremely useless in Super, and Gohan goes back to what he was before his Mystic Gohan transformation. They even make it a point to show that Super Saiyan 3 is useless. So think to yourselves, what was really carried over from each saga in terms of power, character development, so on and so forth. The best thing I would say for the Buu saga is Vegeta's opinion on Goku being the best, and the fact that, you know, the planet is his home and he's accepted everyone and he's become a good person. That stays consistent. I would argue that the Cell Saga and Frieza Saga bring up so much more into Super than the Buu Saga did. But that's for you guys to think it over. Hey guys, thank you for watching my first video. It probably wasn't the smartest thing for it to be about me talking crap about the Buu Saga, but it is what it is. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it though, maybe even learned something. If you guys could, like and subscribe, because it's going to be kind of difficult to get this channel to grow with like nothing. So I would really appreciate it. Anyways, until next time, later.